Welcome to our podcast. Today we would like to present an old invention from the Industrial Revolution called the spinning wheel. As the Industrial Revolution was the kickstart of technology, it had developed both social and economic circumstances that had led to some revolutionizing results. And the main result of the Industrial Revolution was the population growth and urbanization, which means that people started moving from the countryside away from the farming and then moved into the cities where the factories were in search for employment. This has caused that a demand developed for products to increase and thereby led to the invention of machines that were designed to be able to speed up the process of production. And the main purpose of creating machines was to manufacture the products at a lower cost than usual, which was an advantage for the workers who worked hard by doing every process of the production by hand, which was uh, totally time consuming and took a lot of energy. As the population growth increased, people needed clothes to wear, and this was when a machine for carding cotton had been introduced into England in 1767, and it was James Hargreaves who had invented the spinning jenny with the help of a cloakmaker, John Kay, who had been working on a mechanical spinning machine. On the other hand, we have Richard Arkwright, who was considered the father of the modern industrial factory system, as his inventions were like a catalyst for the Industrial Revolution. He had made some improvements that produced a stronger yarn and required less physical labor. His nail cutting machine was patented in 1775. Furthermore, for Richard Arkwright it was hard to be the son of a tailor, as money wasn't available to send him to school in his childhood. However, he was lucky that his cousin taught him how to read and write. When he became elder, he worked hard as a barber, and it was here he for the first time saw spinners and weavers in his life. Furthermore, making wigs was a trend and caused him to travel internationally to buy products to the wigs. So when he was traveling for the first time, he heard about the experiments that had been going on to invent the spinning machines. This was here when he met John Kay, and the meeting with John Kay had a big influence on Arkwright because when the wigs got off trend, he began to invent mechanical machines to the textile industry, and it was primarily to spinning and weaving. In 1769, Arkwright made his first invention, the spinning machine, in association with John Kay and some carpenters, and the spinning machine was way too big to operate with by hands, so it was the first hand knowledge used by horses pulling power. And a few years later, in 1771, Arkwright invented the spinning mill, which was driven by water.
So as we can see here, by the furnace, there will be a fire burning, which will heat up the water enough for it to boil. Then the boiled water will be let off as steam, as you can see up here. And that will be transported through like steam pipes into this room sort of thing, where the steam will build up and end up moving the piston and creating this movement, as you can see here. When the piston hits a certain spot, the valves above and beyond will shut and close, like this. The steam that moves the piston before will then be turned back into water and recycled. So you can see down here it go down and then it'll just basically just go around in a circle. So the piston rod from before creates a motion that is able to make a flywheel turn around. Around the flywheel is different rope drives that sends the movement towards a smaller wheel, which will reflect the movement from the bigger flywheel. By the smaller wheels, a belt drive has been put around, which once again sends movement on its way. And here you basically see that everything then moves every part of these machines is touched by this. How was a spinning mill then different from other spinning mills? The spinning mill was different from other spinning mills as it had the power of being renewable. The water was recycled every time with each process. The source water is also essential source from the nature which is used with every process that goes from water to steam to create a pressure that a steam will turn into water again because of the temperature balance. So what was the consequences of the spinning mill? Um, the invention of the spinning mill had some consequences, both positive and negative, for the society, economy, and environment. The positive effect for the society was the increasing production of cloth at a lower cost. Furthermore, it was no longer the workers who had to do the hard work by hand. Although people no longer had to do the work by hand, it had caused a rebel to start as the machines had taken over human jobs, which meant that people got unemployed and no longer had a job to earn the living. Furthermore, if we look at the environmental consequences, then the process does cause CO2, also known as carbon dioxide, emissions, as the water needs to be boiled, which happens by burning something to cause a fire. In the case of the spinning mill, it was probably tree or coal, which were used to start a fire so the process could get in progress.